Hey gang, this is Dr. Jeff from Legacy Chiropractic with Entrepreneurs Hustle. I'm happy to be here today, your Northeast Indiana chiropractor and entrepreneur extraordinaire, highlighting other entrepreneurs in the community, trying to help you become better in life, business, and overall. And I'm super excited today. We've got a special guest from Northeast Indiana here. We've got Heather McCartney. Thanks for being here today. She is not only a wife and mom of 4, but she's an entrepreneur and has been for quite a while. So thanks for being here today. How are you doing?
Thank you. I'm good. Thank you for having me.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm excited to be here.
Absolutely. You know what? It's Mother's Day month. Did you know that?
Yes, I did.
And moms are the greatest.
I think so.
Is that true?
I think so. Yeah.
So for the month of May, I thought let's highlight women and moms in entrepreneurship,
Awesome.
And especially in the local community.
I love it.
So tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I am, like you said, a mom of 4 kiddos. Actually, 2 are older. Well, 3 are older. So I have a 22-year-old, a 21-year-old, and a 19-year-old, and a 10-year-old son. So I'm busy, a little spaced out. But
Wow.
Yeah. We actually just moved from Madison, Wisconsin.
Wow. And what prompted that?
My husband's worked for Forest River for the past 13 years.
Fantastic.
So a new position for him.
Good.
And new opportunities for me and
So
for him.
tell us a little bit about, I know we'd spoken before, and tell us a little bit about your entrepreneur spirit.
It started at a young age.
How old?
Probably like 7, 8.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I started kind of thinking I could do a dance studio in my basement is kind of how it started.
Really?
I always enjoyed like interacting with people and teaching different things and getting that satisfaction of like helping people. So I thought I was a dancer. I'm not very coordinated, so I don't know why I thought I was a dancer.
What kind of dance? Ballet?
Ballet. Like I loved the whole, like a lot of young girls,
Absolutely. I've got a
dancing,
daughter.
spinning around,
Absolutely.
wanted to get to the toes, but I didn't even like take ballet for very long.
No. Who did you teach? Did you what? Teach yourself? You took a class, or?
I just thought I knew it all.
That's absolutely true.
So like I had like this little dance studio in my basement, and girls would come over in the neighborhood and we'd dance. And I wouldn't charge them anything, Sometimes they'd give me a quarter or something, and we'd go down to the local corner store and get a bunch of penny candy.
So you kind of did have that spirit right then and there.
Yeah.
So some you charged, some you didn't. Had a big heart.
Yeah.
And then where did the entrepreneur spirit go from there?
Then it kind of went, I became a teenager and started babysitting. I actually made up business cards.
You did? How old?
Probably 11.
Oh, wow.
Yes. So business cards for my babysitting business. I typed them up on the typewriter because back in the day.
What day was that? I mean, most of the millennials here don't know what a typewriter is.
Probably the early 80s, you guys.
Oh, yes, my goodness.
Yes. Now I'm aging myself,
Do you
right?
Imagine that typewriter. Typewriter? Are you kidding me?
Nope. Typewriter. I, did it on little, pieces of paper, and then I spaced it all out, and they probably were not very nice business cards, but.
Let me ask you, your 10-year-old.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
I bet he knows how to use that phone and
Oh, yeah.
Now, if you put a typewriter in front of him.
No, he wouldn't know what that is.
He has no clue.
No. I had a vintage shop for a while too, and so I would have those old typewriters in my vintage shop, and he would come in there and be like, what is this? Like all the other little kids that would come in.
No idea. So now you create business cards on a typewriter.
Yep.
Which is a get it done attitude, which is part of being an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
And then how'd that business go?
Good. Like I actually had like a little date book, and I would, schedule people in. I had probably 8 families in my neighborhood that I would babysit for.
And so you're making money as an 11-year-old, and life is great.
Yeah, 11, 12, starting to buy the Guess jeans that were in style then. And
Well, I bet your parents must have loved that, right?
Oh, yeah.
You know what? You're hustling, you're working, you're making money, and you're buying what you want. They don't have to buy.
Yeah, it was a good gig.
That's fantastic. So we go from babysitting, and where do you go in life? What happens there?
Then I did a multitude of different jobs.
Okay.
Which never really panned out for me.
No?
No, I think working for someone else with that entrepreneur spirit is really hard.
Expand upon that. Tell me what you mean.
When you're working for someone else, you're having to go by their rules. You're having to go by what their idea is for their business. So as an entrepreneur, I think we have a different mindset. like we kind of know what we want to do.
Absolutely. And
Yeah.
so we have this idea and it's their business. We go, I think if we could do this better,
Mhm.
but let me ask you a question. As an entrepreneur working for somebody else
Mhm.
and you've got these ideas, don't you think that owner might actually like that a bit because you're taking initiative, which is what business owners really want?
You would
people.
think so, but sometimes it didn't always work out that way.
No,
No,
really.
it was kind of like you were stepping on their toes,
Really?
So I would bring up ideas and thoughts that I had. And a lot of them weren't open to that because as an entrepreneur, you have your own ideas and your own thoughts as to how your business is going to go and how you want it to go. And so other people's input sometimes isn't taken very well.
Wow.
So I can relate to that because
Absolutely.
that's how I am.
And so you start bringing this spirit into other people's businesses
Mhm.
and they don't like it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So was it like you got fired multiple
No,
times?
no,
Or you
I
left,
just would
or-
get frustrated, like, okay, they don't want to listen to anything I have to say, or, just I felt not important. Do you know what I mean? So that
Absolutely.
feeling of not being important and my opinions or my thoughts not being valued.
Mm.
So I would kind of go to the next job.
So I've got to ask you a question.
Yes.
Do you list these all out on resumes? Like this job, this job, this job, this job?
No, no. I mean, it was when I was younger, we
Well,
all kind of go through that.
The only reason I say that is
Mhm.
because as an owner,
Mhm.
and I know we'll talk about some of the things you've done.
Yeah.
You've looked at resumes
Mhm.
and you see resumes that come through
Mhm.
and you see job.
Uh-huh.
And then I used to think, well, this person just isn't committed. They're
Right.
just job flipping.
Skippers, yeah.
And then I start to say, well, maybe they just don't feel appreciated.
Mm-hmm.
And so a big thing that I do in my office here is I try to get my team together and say, come up with ideas. I want to hear them. I want to hear what's going on. What do you got? Let's build this thing together.
Mm-hmm.
And so I've been fortunate enough to look at some resumes and say, man, this isn't just a job skipper or jumper.
Right.
This person just wasn't fulfilled.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know
And
what I mean?
that's true. And so those people are benefiting from working for you, being able to give their input, to give their ideas, to feel important, to feel valued in their
But
business.
for you, you didn't feel that. So did that drive you?
It did. It did. It drove me to continue going on till I found that position or that place that I felt welcome and I felt like it was a fit. And that kind of happened when I was like 22 years old. I was going to college at Carthage College in Kenosha, and I started to work part-time in this coffee shop in town, little local coffee shop. And the two owners were women, which I think was a value to me to see other women in business. And they were really good friends. And so I started to work there. I gave it my all. I gave them input. They liked it. They kept coming back to me for ideas. So that was the one place that I felt valued. I felt important. I felt like my opinion mattered.
Very cool.
Yeah. So I continued to work there as I went to school. But then they kept asking me things and kind of made me the manager, even though I was working part-time, made me the manager. And then they actually wanted to get out of the business.
Really?
So they offered the shops if I wanted to buy their coffee shop.
And how long did you work there for?
I was there for about a year before they offered to sell the shops to me.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. So after a year, they thought enough of you.
Yeah.
Offered
Yeah.
the shop to you.
Yeah.
And what went through your mind at that point? You're working part-time, you're giving input, they like what you're saying. What's starting to go through your mind at that point? Did you think ownership at any point there? Or?
I did. Yeah.
You did?
I did. Because they were really asking me important things like, how would you do this? How would you, market to the surrounding area to get more people in here? So we started doing live music. And that drew a lot of people in at night, even teenagers and stuff. So we started, auditioning these young bands that, wanted the opportunity to perform somewhere, but couldn't perform in bars, but they could perform in a coffee shop.
Absolutely. And that was your idea.
Yeah.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's
So that was really
fantastic.
cool. So we kind of built up the summer deck, had lights out there and everything and made a really cool atmosphere for younger kids to come to and have a venue that they could experience and get together. So kind of community.
So just with that one idea of helping others, business grew.
Yeah. Yeah.
Isn't that awesome?
It
We don't have
did.
to
It was
happen,
awesome.
right?
It was really cool because a lot of those kids, their parents were like, "Where are you performing at?" And so they brought all their friends in, at night to this coffee shop. It was called Java Saloon.
Job soon.
Yeah. And so their parents would come in with them, and then their parents, would come in the morning to get a cup of coffee. And then we had lunch items as well. So a lot of them were teachers in the area, and we catered lunches to the schools and do a lot of different things. So,
So I see this with a lot of entrepreneurs
Mhm.
is it's give me first,
mhm, mhm.
right? And as I'm getting a bigger presence on Instagram and things like this, and people start to follow you, you might see this as well. It's as soon as they like something, you follow them, boom, they're hitting you with
Right.
what can you buy from me?
hmm
Yet when you have an idea like you had,
hmm
let's focus on other people,
hmm
bigger things come.
Oh yeah, yeah. I totally think that wanting to help other people and to even having that entrepreneurship spirit within you, when it's not so like product driven and service. I mean, it is kind of service driven because you want to help other people. So I think wanting to serve other people and get the value back from that. With those young band members, they were having their, parents come in and their friends, and then their parents' friends, and so it just kind of grew from there.
It's snowball.
Yeah,
One simple little awesome idea.
yeah, yeah,
Snowball.
yeah, it did. And then we got to know their parents, were coming in on a regular basis to get their coffees in the morning. And, we'd have that ready for them. Like we would know these people's lives and to be able to speak into their lives. Like we would kind of know when people were coming in and having a bad day,
Hmm.
and we would kind of create that atmosphere of, hey, you can come here and you can talk to us. No, it's a coffee shop, but we're here to listen. And
So it's more than just selling a product.
yeah, then selling coffee.
And I think that's what a lot of entrepreneurs don't get about owning and running a business is, you know what, our business is basically there to serve other human beings. And if we
Absolutely.
can create an experience more so than just sell a product, then you'll go a lot longer.
Oh, I totally agree with that. Yeah.
So they asked me to become a manager, you start growing this thing, and then bam, hey, you want to own the place?
Yeah. So I was actually pregnant with my daughter when I bought the shop.
And you
my
were
first
pregnant.
daughter. Yes.
Wow.
First daughter. So bought the shop. She kind of grew up at that coffee shop. It was a big undertaking. So I'm pregnant. We're running this coffee shop, and
When you say wait, is it you and your husband?
my ex-husband.
Okay,
Yes.
excellent. Okay,
Yep.
so you guys are running the coffee shop.
Yep. So we're running the coffee shop. He's working second shift. I'm working in the morning at the coffee shop. Pregnant, getting up at 5 a.m. I'm not a morning person.
But you did what you had to do, right?
I did what I had to do to get the business to succeed and to keep it open.
So I want to talk a little bit about that
Mhm.
concept right there.
Mhm.
Okay. Doing what you have to do in order to succeed, keep it open. Because I think a lot of entrepreneurs out there, it's glitz and glamour, right? It's glitz and glamour. It's private jets.
Oh, yeah.
And it's
Got all that.
it's private secretaries and assistants, and
Assistants.
it's all that, right?
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
tell me about the truth with getting things started like that. So what's the truth on that one?
It's a lot of grinding and waking up at odd hours, going to bed at, early morning hours, and, doing it all over again. It's grinding and, getting in there, getting dirty.
So it's not within 6 months I'm going to be making millions. And
No, unfortunately it's not. So people always have that like vision that entrepreneurs, oh, you own your own business, No, I'm not buying Louis Vuitton bags, and I'm not wearing, Gucci.
Not the beginning. You're
No,
not
you're
in the
not.
Beginning, and not for a while. You're
Not for a long time.
But where do you think that image comes from? So you're grinding out. You're pregnant.
Yeah.
You're getting up early. You don't want to get up early.
No.
You're tired. And again, not being pregnant and not want to get up is one thing,
Mhm.
but being pregnant
Mhm.
and not wanting to get up is another. So what do you think that where does that image come from? And
Well, I think nowadays it comes from the internet and social media,
Yeah.
Instagram and all the, YouTube stuff where there's these YouTube stars that are sensations, and they're buying the Lamborghinis and stuff. These young kids that are making it rich. I mean, my son watches this one YouTube show and he's like, "Look at mom, they just bought a Lamborghini." I'm like, okay.
What
or McLaren. This kid just bought a McLaren.
Did he buy it, or is he renting it for the video?
Who knows? But apparently he says he bought it, But I think a lot of that instant, like, you ask kids these days, what do you want to be when you grow up? I want to be a YouTube star. Okay.
Yeah, but what does that mean to be a YouTube star, right?
Yeah, exactly.
What does it mean to be a YouTube star? So
right.
Being an entrepreneur, starting a business, takes sacrifice.
Yeah, absolutely.
Did it take sacrifice in your family life?
Yeah. Yeah. Right. I mean, it did. I mean, my kids were there. So I was pregnant with Emily when I opened this coffee shop, got it going, took it over. And I was actually pregnant with our second daughter in labor when we opened our second shop.
Really?
The day of grand opening was Labor Day for me.
It was literally Labor Day. It wasn't September. It was literally Labor Day.
It was literally Labor Day, so July 10th.
I mean, did you spend the whole day in labor opening, or did you?
Well, talking about sacrifice, like I got up that morning and it's grand opening of this second coffee shop in a bookstore. And I got up and I'm like, I'm in labor. And my ex-husband's like, well, we got to go. We have a shop to open. Like, okay. So literally I got up, we went to the bakery. I'm having contractions like over the bakery, bakery cabinet. I'm like, and the lady's like, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "Oh yeah, I'm fine.
I'm good. I'm opening a business.
Just made my pastries." And going to the bank and doing all this stuff that we had to do to get ready for this grand opening.
Oh my goodness.
So we go to this grand opening. I called my assistant manager. I'm like, "Hey, I'm in labor." She's like, "I knew it. I knew this was going to happen." But she was there. Kelly was there. It was awesome. But I was literally at the shop getting it ready for grand opening day in labor. Contractions are 2 minutes apart.
Oh my goodness.
I'm finally like, we need to go to the hospital.
Oh my goodness. What a grand opening that was.
Yes.
And so had the baby.
Yep.
Opening went great.
Yep. Opening went great. Was back like 3 days later.
Well, that's how a mom entrepreneur does it, right?
Back 3 days later, 2 kids in the shop. I had a bassinet set up in the back.
Absolutely. So I'm originally from New York.
Okay. Yep.
And I graduated chiropractic school in Chicago, and my wife and I moved back to New York, and we opened our first office there. And it was the exact same thing. My wife was pregnant, and she had a baby on, I believe it was a Friday. And guess who was back in the office on Monday? Guess who was back in the office on Monday? Because we were trying to make this thing work however you need to, right? It wasn't glitz and glamour, but it's the attitude of just get it done.
You do it. You just do what you have to do.
So now we have 2 coffee shops.
2 coffee shops.
Okay. And how are they running?
They're good. They're doing well. There was no Starbucks.
I was just going to get there.
I was just going to get there. You have 2 great coffee shops because what wasn't invented at that point? There was no Starbucks in Kenosha, Wisconsin at the time.
Oh my
So, it was considered a small town. Now it's not. It was home of Chrysler and AMC, American Motors, blue collar town. This whole thing of lattes and cappuccinos and all this was a new concept in the town.
And so what year was this?
This was so Emily was born in 96, so 94.
Okay, so in 94, there's no Starbucks. Life is good. Business is going.
Yep.
You've got employees working for you.
Yep.
Okay. Full staff. So let's go there, and then we'll come back to Starbucks and all.
Yeah.
So how many employees did you have?
Let's see. So at the one coffee shop, we had probably 8 employees. And then the other one, we had like 6.
So let's talk to the entrepreneurs out there who just getting started, or maybe they've been in business for a while, and we've got to work with staff members. So tell me some challenges you had, and tell me some ways that you tend to work with employees that could benefit everyone out there.
Yeah, a lot of my employees were younger, teenagers, high schoolers, because I would work the morning shift. And I did actually have a couple of older women that worked with me, not old, but older
Yeah,
women.
older.
And I think some of the challenges, especially with the younger kids, because they're busy. So schedule conflicts, a lot of the schedule conflicts came up. We had to work through that, but I wanted to make the environment a family environment. So we were very open, like talking with each other, like, hey, can you take my shift? I think that was one of the biggest challenges, I think, with staffing. And when you're an owner, you really don't get vacations. You don't get days off. So if someone doesn't show up,
Yeah.
who are they calling? They're calling you.
And I'm sure you've heard this before. It's like, oh, you own the business. You get to take off when you want and do what you want. And you know what? There are some owners out there who successfully built that system in.
Absolutely.
I'm trying to work on that. But
Mhm.
again, you're always on.
It takes time. You
You're
are always on.
Always on.
Yep.
And so the biggest challenge for you was?
I think staffing and just keeping people there, because you have to be open. When you have that type of business, you have to be open. If it's a virtual business, a little bit different. If it's a coffee shop, service business,
product,
a restaurant,
service.
You have to be open. Otherwise, it fails. I mean, people don't know when you're going to be there. I mean, you just can't shut your doors.
So, open concept of talking about, can you cover this and that and the other thing?
Mm-hmm.
Did that always work for you? Did it not work?
I mean, for the most part, it did. Of course, there were those circumstances where it's like, well, no one can come in. So, hi. Here I am with two babies in hand.
Yeah, absolutely.
Working, I mean, I had the bassinet set up in the back and the pack and play for my older daughter. And I mean, my 22-year-old grew up in the coffee shop.
Absolutely.
She worked at Starbucks as she got older. She started,
what?
Oh yeah, she started.
She what?
Yeah, she did.
She what? We haven't even gotten to that part of the story yet.
I worked for Starbucks.
What? I know. We talked about that. We're going to get there
Yes,
shortly.
yes.
So, staffing challenge, you go in, but I will tell you, and you tell me if you think this is true or not. But we had the same thing. We've had our kids, and we've had 3 practices, and we've had our kids working in our practices.
Mm-hmm.
I think it does something special for them, though.
I think so.
I think it provides a sense of responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
I just feel that we're kind of in a world where there's tons of irresponsibility.
Mm-hmm.
Kids, people, they just, if I don't want to show up, just don't show up. And
Absolutely.
there's a story I want to talk about with that and how you handle it, which was awesome. But there's no responsibility. And I think bringing the kids in to see them what work's all about builds a sense of responsibility. Do you agree with that?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I think I saw from a young age, like my oldest daughter, she has that entrepreneur spirit, I think, where she goes in, and even actually all my kids, all my girls are very committed to their jobs. My middle one, she never would call in sick. She would go if she was sicker than a dog sometimes.
Integrity, responsibility.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Because they saw what mom had to go through.
Absolutely. Right? So, but I feel that they have that entrepreneur spirit in them, where they know they can do a good job if they put their mind to it and, commit to something.
Okay.
And I see that in them.
So staffing, biggest challenge.
Mm-hmm.
If you had a piece of advice for people today who have staffing challenges,
Mm-hmm.
what would it be? What do you think?
I think I would probably vary my ages quite a bit more than I did. Have some older people, have some younger people, have some high school people, have some, kind of vary it out a little bit more where their schedules are different. I did have a lot of high school students working at the shop, so that made it quite difficult.
Okay, so get some variance in age.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Hire a little older, hire a little younger,
Yeah.
everyone in between.
And I think that helps too with your customer base as well, because those people will relate to different ages, different groups of people. So
absolutely. So now we got 2 coffee shops, and who moves in? Do Starbucks?
Well, no, Starbucks.
Oh, they don't. Okay.
No, Starbucks didn't. I'm trying to remember when Starbucks came in. I think they came in closer to the end of when we actually closed our coffee shops. So it all kind of worked out well. So we actually had those businesses for about 7 years. Worked those, had them going on for that long period of time.
Was it a joy every single day?
No.
So you mean being an entrepreneur and owning a
No.
business, and it's not a joy every single day?
No.
I mean, there are days that you don't feel like going in and
Yeah.
handling anything
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
because there is definitely an idea out there that you have to love what you do all the time, every day, and and I'm sure you've heard this. If you love what you do, you've never worked, you
Worked
never
a
work
day
a
in your
day.
life.
I mean, what do you think?
I wish it could be that way, but no, there's always struggles with, I think, anything you do in life. There's going to be obstacles. There's going to be, crappy days where you're just like, oh, I don't want to go to work today, and
And you
face
just do
what
it.
you have to do. I mean, yeah, you just kind of put one foot in front of the other and do what you got to do.
Okay,
And
so
yeah, the days are not always glorious.
well, I'm going to be honest. We're going to talk about a story in a little bit
Mhm.
because we've talked before, and I think it was awesome.
Okay.
So we'll get there, and I want you to share that.
Sure.
So 7 years in,
We didn't have them for 7. We had them for about 5 because
Okay.
the other owners had the first one for a couple years.
Okay.
But then we closed them when my ex, we had to move to Madison, Wisconsin. So,
okay, so
and that was actually when we had our third daughter. So they all kind of were based on children.
oh,
Yeah.
man, isn't that how life goes? Jeez, man, we have 4 ourselves.
Okay. Yeah. They kind of rule your life a little bit.
I look at my wife sometimes and I go, man, what would I do with all the time I had if it wasn't for running around like a lunatic? But then, you know what? Then my 5-year-old daughter does
Mhm.
something. I look at it, I go, oh man, what would I do without
You
these
wouldn't have
kids?
that.
What would
Yeah.
I do without these
You wouldn't
kids?
have that experience. Yeah.
So I got to ask a question. Was there ever a thought of selling them, or you just have to close them?
Well, we did actually we tried to sell one of them, but like the location was it was kind of hidden in the back, which was the first location, but it was kind of a cozy atmosphere, but
Sure.
there were kind of some downfalls to that location.
Okay.
The other one was in a bookstore, and the bookstore owner bought that
Okay. So
kind
you
of the
did.
rights from that. Yeah. And then the freestanding one that was kind of hidden, we had a local florist that came in and bought like all the equipment. He was putting like a little cafe in the back of his flower shop. So
Okay. Fantastic.
Yeah.
So now we move, Madison, Wisconsin.
Yep.
Kids in hand.
Yep.
Away
Kids
we
in
go.
hand. I stayed home and did childcare at home.
So basically, you had the hardest job in the world.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
I'll be the first to admit it. I'm the first to admit it. Without my wife, I'm clueless. Kids are awesome. They're amazing, but there's something about a mom that God has given you a gift
Yeah.
that they have not at least given me, and that is patience.
It takes
And
a
I'm
lot
working
of
on it.
patience. And so then I was taking care of other people's children.
So your kids weren't enough. You thought, let me take care
Come
of
on, bring it on.
Bring more kids.
But
Now you're
that's
charging for that.
Yes, but that's the entrepreneur spirit. Like
Right.
I'm like, okay, I can either go work for someone else and be miserable, which I knew that was going to happen, or I can take on other people's children, be home with my kids for a couple of years.
So
and-
tell me about it. So you're starting to watch your kids, and
Yep.
then do you just wake up one day, or do you automatically go, if I'm staying home, I'm taking care of kids?
I think it was just a way to, create more income for our household. And I was going to stay home anyway. So I figured I would start with doing after school childcare. And then it turned into more.
So have you seen the movie Daddy Daycare?
Yes.
So this was mommy daycare. This was mommy daycare.
Yes.
So about how many kids are you taking
I
care
had
of?
about 4 kids that I took care of. Some were
Okay.
part-time, some were full-time,
Okay.
in addition to my 3. So
7
7 kids sometimes. But it worked out really well because the scheduling was good. And, I had kids there in the afternoon, and I had a couple, I had one teacher's kid. So it worked where, during the school year she was there. And then,
Seriously, it's Mother's Day month, and we've got Heather McCartney here, local from the area, wife, entrepreneur, but mom. And moms are so important too. And
house, I needed to talk to adults. I needed to feel like me. So I went to work for Starbucks.
What? Well, look, here's the thing. They didn't put you out of business, so it's not bad.
No,
They didn't put you out of
no,
business.
They didn't.
But the cool thing is you have experience in the coffee shop.
I did.
But you're going to work for somebody now.
Yes. So that was quite a lot of hesitation for me, but I did love the coffee industry. And when you looked at the options to go into the coffee industry, there were not a lot of options at the time.
What year was this?
That was probably, so I'm trying to think back. So
95.
Mary was born in 2000. So like 2003.
Okay, so Howard Schultz
Yeah.
has this idea. He goes to Italy
Yes.
and he sees coffee shops and he loves the lifestyle. He thinks he can bring this back and charge $5 a coffee. And people tell him he's nuts.
Yeah.
But you saw something in that?
I did. I'm in the early Starbucks. Like it was good stuff. Like it really was. I mean, I'm not saying that it's not bad now.
We're not going to say it's
Don't
not bad now.
No, it's
we're not
great.
talking.
It's great.
We're not talking about him.
No, but I mean, he did bring that concept back, and he did bring, that the love of coffee back to us, and what they did, with the coffee industry.
Love of coffee? What do you mean by that? What was it? The love of coffee?
I think teaching people about the origins and where it comes from, and how to actually do tastings and to drink and taste the flavors,
Like
kind of like
wine.
wine.
Yeah, like wine.
Yep, and like the beer stuff going on now.
Absolutely,
all over.
IPAs and all that.
Mm-hmm.
So you decide to go to work for them.
Yep.
You start off as a manager.
I was a barista.
Wait a minute.
Bottom of the totem
Wait
pole.
a minute. I think this is another
Oof.
thing. I think this is another thing that we need to talk about here is how many people come into a job and like, no, I want the top position, and if I got to scrub a toilet,
Yeah.
I'm holding out.
Oh yeah. No, I scrubbed a lot of toilets.
No, hold on one second. Hold
Yes.
on one second. You own your own business.
Mhm.
Then you had your business with kids.
Mhm.
So you're used to making money and running a business.
Mm-hmm.
And they start you off as a barista scrubbing
Yep.
toilets.
Yeah.
I don't understand
like
why
$7 an hour.
why you didn't hold out. I don't understand, right? I mean, so what was
Because
it?
my desperation to get out of the house,
It was so worth it.
socialize with other people.
Not that you don't love your kids.
I do, but I wanted to do other things than, hi, honey, what are you doing? I wanted to like talk to humans, like big people.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, so it was totally worth it.
$7 an hour.
Yeah.
You go, I'll take the job. I'm
Yeah.
scrubbing toilets. I don't
Scrubbing
care.
toilets, doing dishes, cleaning out refrigerators, cleaning out milk, refrigerators with gross milk in them, and
Okay.
all the stuff.
And then what happens?
I bust my butt.
How long?
About 6 months.
That's it. You just got to bust your butt for 6 months.
Busted my butt for 6 months. Showed them what I had, and I was mentioned to start doing the management training program. I became a shift manager first, so I got a pay raise and responsibility raise.
All right. All right.
So then I was in charge of like the team, on the floor, telling them where to go, what to do. So
And so did they respond well to that?
yeah,
or
yeah. I mean, I'm not like a bossy
What
boss.
type of a leader are you?
I think I'm a good leader. Like I like to collaborate with people and hear their ideas because I know how that feels as a person
Sure.
to not have my, opinions and thoughts valued.
Way back when, right?
Mhm.
So way
Absolutely.
back when that start to form you.
Yeah. Hmm.
And
So-
so you're asking feedback and things like
Yeah.
that. And they appreciate that.
Absolutely. Yep. So, I mean, I did what was required of me as the job of a shift, was mentioned to start the management training program. So I was like, okay. So I started being trained as a manager, worked my tail off actually for quite a while.
How long?
Well, the training program, I believe it was 6 months to become a manager of the store. But then that doesn't mean that you get a store. There has to be a store available to get a store. So even if you're a management in training, that doesn't mean like, oh, okay, now you're done with the program. Here's a store for you.
Right. So everything happens in its due time.
Yeah. Yeah. So I had to kind of wait for a store to open up. I went and opened a lot of stores across Wisconsin.
Really?
Yep. Appleton, even some stores in Illinois.
Really?
Yep. So on that team, you kind of help open stores.
So you're starting to move up the ranks here?
Yeah. I mean, as far as, helping with that whole getting a store ready and stuff.
Now, how long were you at Starbucks for?
I was at Starbucks for 6 years.
So you lasted quite a while.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Wow.
So I became a manager. Long story short, I guess. Actually opened the Wisconsin Dells store.
Oh, cool.
Yep, it was kind of a fun experience.
Next time I'm there with my kiddos,
Yeah, you'll know.
I'm
Yep.
Heather, open that.
Wisconsin Dells store. I started as assistant manager there.
Really?
Yep, had a not so good manager, which, yeah, that
So,
was another story.
Without saying
Yeah.
names, right?
Uh-huh.
What makes a poor manager?
dishonesty.
Okay, absolutely.
Kind of, yeah, just a lot of things that happened there, where it actually got back to our district manager, were a lot of lies about me.
Okay, sure.
So I had to prove myself to my DM. He actually pulled me out of the Dell store and had me go down to State Street in Madison, Wisconsin, right by the university there,
Sure.
which was one of the worst stores in the district. And I had to go to that store and prove myself, basically.
And
I did. And I actually, that manager from the Dell store had gotten terminated.
okay,
My DM actually came to me and apologized.
the integrity
For what had gone down.
You had
Mhm.
integrity, truth.
Yep.
You were working hard.
Yep.
And you know what? True or false? At some point, when you're doing great work, you will be attacked.
Yeah. Yeah. And I totally felt that. I was a threat to her. And yeah, so I proved myself. When I have a goal to hit or something to do, I will do it. Like, it's always
Driven.
yeah, I'm driven to do it. And I turned that store around on State Street, went on to be a manager of the quarter because I
Wow.
was managing 2 stores at one time.
Ever
Yeah,
thought of owning one?
you can't own Starbucks.
You can't own them?
No, they're all corporate owned, even the
Oh,
licensed stores.
man.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
So, yeah.
So 6 years,
Mhm.
you're doing your thing, you're enjoying
Yep.
it.
Yep.
And what
Yeah.
happens?
During that time, I got divorced, unfortunately.
Life happens.
Yep, life happens. And I went on and worked. What was I doing? Trying to think.
You get here.
Starbucks,
Let's
yeah.
talk about how you got
Yeah.
here to Indiana.
Yeah. So I met my new husband,
Excellent.
and we started a family. We have a son who's 10 now.
So 4 kids.
We have 4 kids.
Whew.
Yep. We were living in Madison, Wisconsin,
Okay.
for the past 13 years.
Okay.
And actually, I've lived in Madison for the past 18 years.
Okay.
And we just recently moved here to Indiana in January.
You're here because he's relocated
Yep.
here.
Yep.
And so you're in Northeast Indiana,
Mhm.
kind of forgotten. Kind of forgotten. And
Yep.
to be honest, I'm originally from New York,
Yeah.
Long Island.
Big city.
And I moved to Chicago to go to chiropractic school. Happened to meet my wife, who's from LaGrange, Indiana.
Okay.
And she was taking me home. And I went, okay, let's
Okay,
go home.
let's go.
So we get on 80 and we go home. And I go, where am I? I said, it's bad enough that I went from New York to Illinois. That's
Yeah.
the Midwest. They're slower. They're this,
Sure,
they're that.
sure.
I can't take this. I'm going back to New York. I can't wait. And then we go to home in Indiana. And I go, where am I?
Mhm.
And I swore to myself I'd never live in a podunk town in the middle of nowhere like this. And then
Where are you now?
I have taken my foot out of my mouth multiple times. But you know what? I couldn't be happier here. You know what? It's a little tucked away,
Mhm.
but there's so many possibilities and opportunities and
Yeah.
open land. And so
Yeah.
you guys move here.
Yep. We move here.
Are
I
you
know.
bored? You want to do something? What happens?
I know nobody. I know nobody. My husband knows people here because he's worked here. I mean, technically he's worked here. He's worked at home, but he's been in the area.
Okay.
So he knows quite a few people. I know nobody. I have 2 businesses.
Tell me about that. So let's get into today's
Sure.
day and age. Let's talk about your businesses
Sure.
and things of that nature.
So when I was back in Madison, I opened, I had a vintage store and I did paint sign parties and all that kind of stuff. So I had that business. And then I also had a staging, decorating business called the Blissful Home,
Okay.
where I do decorating and staging a lot of times for real estate agents, but I also do independent, people who just want me to come in and help them decorate. And I do it at a low cost. Like, I don't want people to go out and buy a ton of new things for their house. We're going to kind of use what you already have
Sure.
in your home.
And how'd you get started in that?
I think just with my vintage business and just when the kids were younger, economics, like I would paint their furniture. I would go, buy stuff economically at the used
Sure,
stores, thrift
sure.
shops, and redo it and put it in their rooms and redo their rooms for birthdays and all that.
And that's the other thing.
Yeah.
As you become more successful,
Mhm.
does that just mean you have to spend more money?
No,
or-
no,
Right.
no. Mm-mm.
And that's what people feel as well. If I made my first $5,000, I should celebrate, go out and spend
Buy.
$6,000.
Yeah. No.
But no, so you provide an opportunity for low cost homes
Yeah.
that look like $1 million.
Absolutely. And I love that satisfaction of helping people kind of do it themselves, but yet get a really nice look in their home and not have to like, for one, like waste a bunch of stuff and throw it in the landfill. And so I do economical and environmentally friendly decorating is what I call it.
Say the name of your business again.
Blissful Home.
Blissful Home.
Mhm.
Okay, is there a website? Is there...
Yeah, I can. Theblissfulhome.com.
Blissfulhome.com. So again, a shameless plug. I'm going to allow it.
Yep.
Theblissfulhome.com.
Mhm.
So are you currently doing that in the area here?
I have not connected with agents yet. Just kind of getting my bearings and everything, and
Okay.
starting to go to some business meetings and entrepreneur type meetings,
Okay.
networking things. So
Cool. So the Blissful Home is one. What's
Yep.
the second business?
Rodan Fields. So I do skincare, helping people with their skin, not just feel good inside, but I think it's important to feel good outside and help that confidence. And, just we all want to feel good about ourselves.
Absolutely.
So mhm.
And so how'd you get involved in that?
I got involved with Rodan Fields, trying to think. Oh, so I have a thyroid condition, Hashimoto's. I lost my lashes. I didn't have any eyelashes.
Wow.
Yeah. And
How long ago was that?
that was 2 years ago.
And so obviously that affected you.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, I didn't feel great about my, like I had no lashes. And I think eyes are important,
Sure they are.
especially as women, we like to have our lashes.
Yeah.
Everyone's doing like these extensions and all this stuff. And I had none. So it was kind of, makes your confidence kind of go down a little bit. Not that I'm trying to be vain or anything, but
I don't think it has anything to do with being vain.
Yeah.
That's why I think that society puts such a heavy push on feeling good about yourself.
Mhm, mhm.
Look, you can feel good about yourself. Dress the way you want to dress,
Yeah.
look the way you want to look, feel confident, whatever makes you as a human being feel awesome
Right.
about yourself, as long as it's not at the expense of somebody else.
Absolutely.
Then who cares? If you want to have orange hair and it makes you feel good,
Yep.
I'm totally okay
I
with
had
that.
pink hair for a while.
There it
Made me
is.
feel good.
And whatever makes you feel good that is in line and has integrity and ethics, what does it matter?
Yeah. Yeah. So I didn't have the lashes. I saw somebody post a picture on Facebook where her lashes were amazing. I was like, hey, did you get extensions? And she's like, no, this is this Lash Boost stuff. So I found a consultant who sold Lash Boost and started using it, saw results. And I was like, okay, I want a piece of this. Like, I want to be able to help other people like myself with that confidence and, just feeling good.
The entrepreneur spirit kicked in
Yeah,
again.
it did again. Yeah.
We
And-
can't just find something we like. We got to take it
I
on and we got to
know.
share it in a big way, don't we?
We
We can't
do.
just sit down. And...
We do. And I felt so good about this product and this company and just the things that they were doing. And then also as far as like women empowerment, the company is really big with that. The two women that own the company actually started Proactive back
Oh,
in the day.
absolutely.
Yep, Kathy and Katie Rodan Fields.
Really?
Yep. So they started a company Proactive. They sold that company and are doing Rodan Fields exclusively. And we have different lines for different skin types, everything from anti-aging to acne, even teen acne and young adult acne, and sensitive skin, everything.
So you're here in the area
Mhm.
and you're trying to get these businesses moving.
Yeah.
How long you been in the area now?
Since January.
Since January. Okay, so you've been here almost 6 months here.
Yeah, but I don't think you can count like January, February, and March
Why?
because
it was
we
minus,
don't
it was minus 40 degrees.
we don't get outside of our house.
It's
We're
minus-
like all hibernating.
Minus 40 and wind
Yeah.
chill. And where did I move to?
Well, it was back in Wisconsin. It was like that too. So
You know where it wasn't like that? In South Florida. In South Florida, it's
South
not
Florida.
like that.
yeah.
What am I doing here?
Exactly. Mhm.
So you got here January, March.
Yes.
I want to bring up a story, which I said I would.
Mhm.
Because again, the way I found you was I just started January, made a commitment because I just moved here about a year and a half ago.
Okay.
So I've been coming for 17 years, but
Mhm.
very quickly God moved us to sell our home and our business in Chicago
Mhm.
and to come here and open this chiropractic office and get involved with other entrepreneurs and things of that nature, help others in this area here.
Mhm.
And so yeah, it's been an interesting journey here, but really, it's it's interesting because when you know nobody,
Mhm.
how are you going to meet people?
Yeah.
And so in January, I made this commitment that I was going to jump back on social media and try to start not only meet people, but find things of interest and see how I could help others, not only with my content for health,
Mhm.
but also networking and entrepreneur and help other business owners. And so I just started to get on Instagram. I was really never on it, got on it, started to learn how to use it, and then started to see local feeds from Bristol, Middlebury, Shipshawana,
Sure.
and boom, your feed kept coming up.
Okay.
And a lot of positive stuff, right in line with who I am,
Mhm.
and some really great stuff. And then the post that drove me to say, hey, why don't you come on my
Uh-huh.
video podcast was an awesome post because I've been there. I felt it. I'm sure other entrepreneurs have. It was the post where you were sitting in a coffee shop, I think in
Yes.
Napanee,
Uh-huh.
and you had a meeting with somebody for this one business.
Mhm.
And sure enough, they don't show up.
Right. Mhm.
No call, no nothing.
No.
And you know, as an entrepreneur, we're excited.
Yeah.
And then there's a letdown.
Sure.
And you can absolutely get frustrated,
Mhm.
angry, and then you put your post up. Do you remember that?
I do.
What
I
was
do.
it?
I explored the town of Napanee.
What does that
Like,
even mean? Like,
so be a tourist in your town. Like, I took kind of a crappy situation,
so,
you know.
so tell me what happens.
So,
You're supposed to meet this
so I
person.
was supposed to meet this person she was going to buy these chairs from me. Didn't show up, or locations got mixed up. Whatever happened.
Was there a moment of disappointment, frustration, irritation, or not even?
Not really, because I was like looking around. I'm like, oh yeah, this is where rocket science is. I know that, and then I can, oh, I wanted to check out the Main Street coffee roasters, and
There it is, coffee again. It's
yeah,
coffee.
yeah, I know. I love coffee shops. It's one of my passions. Um, so I was like driving through, and I was like, oh, well, I can go here, and I can go here, and so I parked my car, and I just kind of turned it into a day for me,
Awesome.
self-care, and
And I thought that was an awesome post, because again, there's so many times, especially, especially just starting off, when every encounter
uh-huh.
could mean you're having dinner the next, or breakfast or dinner, or
Yeah.
and it doesn't come through, and you
Right.
took a situation and you turned it around and you said, look, we're going to make this thing work.
Yeah, and I had a great day. Like, I went out, I went to the Main Street coffee roasters, I took some selfies with their great brick walls there. I went to some thrift shops in the area.
I'm going to I'll tell you that by doing that, whether you realize it or not, you had impact on other people by just putting that out there. And I think that's pretty cool. All the content that goes out there is always, everything is great and this and that. But, you put out a content that was like, didn't show up, this stinks. But hey, you know what? I'm going to make a great day. And it actually motivated me that day.
That's cool.
It motivated
Awesome.
me. So if it motivated me, I guarantee it
I hope
motivated
so.
tons of other people. And that's the beauty
I
of it.
hope so. I mean, that's kind of what I hope to do with like my business and just with my Instagram, just to like, help people in any way that I can with their health or their skin or,
So I noticed you're doing this challenge, this exercise,
CrossFit, yeah.
CrossFit. So talk a little bit about that. What's going on in your life now? What are you doing?
Yeah, I think, I'm 46, and when
Is
I
that
hit,
old or young?
that's young.
It is very young.
Yeah.
All right, good. I was gonna kick you out if you said
Yeah,
that was
it's
old.
young. It's young. But I think as moms, especially, like, we're talking about moms, and I think we tend to forget about ourselves. I think we tend to take care of everybody else, our spouse, the house, the dogs, the cat, the kids, the just everything. And we put ourselves to the wayside. And I found that happen for me, like when I hit like 41, when my oldest daughter went off to college. It was a real adjustment for me. Like, I'm still like, I'll never forget the day that I peeled all these potatoes for dinner and was cutting them up to make mashed potatoes. And my husband came out and he's like, are we having people over? And I'm like, no, why? And he's like, well, how many potatoes are you making? And I started crying because she was gone. I mean, this is my oldest daughter. Like, I cried almost every day in the shower, like, oh, she's going away. But it was such a life adjustment for me that she wasn't there anymore. And like, I started to think about myself, like, wow, what haven't I done that I want to do in life? And I went through depression, which hormones I know play a lot of that. Now I'm learning about that. But I started to do a shift and like, okay, I need to focus on me and focus on my health and focus on
Let me
my
ask this question.
mental
So
health.
when we say depression and hormones, do you also think and agree that before you said you're very goal oriented, so your focus and your goal was right on your daughter,
Yeah.
and that focus and goal was accomplished. You rang the bell. Was it? Do you think it also had something to do with like, what's my next goal? I don't have any goal or mission or anything like that, or was it? Do you think complete hormones at that point?
I think it was a mixture of both. I think it was a mixture of like, we have such a focus on our kids and them growing up and being healthy and being, great people in the society and, having them fly away, Then my next daughter graduated too the following year.
Oh my
So I had
goodness.
2 leave right after one
Left the
another.
nest.
Yeah. So it was a lot of stuff happening in my life
Absolutely.
personally. And just to like sit back and like, okay, did I do enough? Did I do, those things that were required of me as a mom to have them go off into the world and be productive citizens,
And I'll say, I bet just by having them watch you hustle and work and be relentless and figure things out, I bet that's the truth.
Yeah, they're pretty independent kids, which I'm happy about. Like
bet
they're
that's the truth.
independent and they, do things. So
And to add on that, I was driving the office in February, and I turned 42, and I was driving the office that morning, and I was floored with emotion myself. And I have 4 kids. My oldest he'll be 15 next week.
okay.
I was floored with emotion. But my kids aren't going to be with me someday. And I immediately called a friend of mine who's older than me, who has 2 kids that are left. He's a Christian. And I said, Ed, like, I'm floored with this emotion. Like, what? And he goes, listen, your entire job is just to prepare and then be happy.
Yes.
And release. And I went,
Yes.
okay, but I'm still going to cry, Like,
Yeah. And the cool thing though, is that like we get to be their parents for such a short time, but we get to be their friends for a long time.
Right.
And that's kind of
fantastic.
So that was kind of a cool thing to like wrap my brain around. Like I get to be friends with them now.
That's fantastic.
We get to like hang out and do fun stuff together. So
they're gone. You're taking care of yourself.
Yeah.
Tell me about it.
Yeah. So a lot of ups and downs with health stuff. Like I have Hashimoto's, I have a thyroid condition, dealing with that, weight gain, just feeling tired, lethargic, really getting a grasp on my health and doing things for me. So I became a pescatarian, stopped eating red meat. I eat fish. And started working out. Excuse me. Found a gym back home that I loved. I was going like 3 to 4 times a week. We moved here. Don't have that gym anymore.
Right.
Trying to find a gym that I fit in at, and again, a doctor here that I can trust and know that's going to guide me in the right direction. Found a naturopath here in town, integrative medicine, which I love. Learning things about hormones where I had no idea.
Absolutely.
And doing CrossFit, which is something I never thought I would do ever.
And I enjoy it.
I love it.
Awesome.
I love it. Yeah.
Awesome. How long have you been doing it?
I've only gone 5 times.
No way.
But the first time I went, I fell in love with it. Fell in love with it.
Because it was goals and challenges.
It was goals and challenges, and it was quick paced, and it was it didn't seem like an hour. It seemed quicker than an hour, and the coach is amazing. Like she keeps you on, making sure you're doing the right things for your body so you don't get hurt. So
I think I have a feeling I know what's coming next.
What?
You're gonna own a CrossFit gym. Because if you haven't thought about it, it's coming.
No, I've thought about other things. Yeah, I've thought about other things.
What
I
else?
always have stuff going in my head,
Absolutely. So we have just a few minutes left.
Yeah.
5 minutes left. Let's talk entrepreneurship. Tell the audience a couple things about what you'd recommend as far as the success principle, being an entrepreneur, anything you want to relay in the next couple minutes.
I would,
being a woman entrepreneur?
Yeah.
Because that's different.
It is
It's
different.
different because I sympathize. It's tough,
Mhm.
tougher because there's the mom factor.
Yeah.
So any of those,
Yeah. I think a lot of times moms, like we get the mom guilt
yep,
of like, ooh, if I'm like successful or if I'm not at this kid's choir thing tonight or if I'm doing something different, we get that mom guilt.
yeah,
And that can be really detrimental to like your mental health and everything because we let it linger and like, oh, I'm not a good enough mom and I must not be good enough in anything else because I can't do this one thing right. And I think you have to let that go. Like you said, them watching you be successful and do things is so good for them. It's an education in itself for them. So I think we need to let that go as moms.
and with two older ones gone,
Hmm.
sometimes you can give a piece of advice
Hmm.
and you're full of it.
Yeah, yeah,
But you, for sure, can tell them,
yeah,
let it go because you see it with your own adult daughters.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I can give them advice as much as I want, but it's like anybody else. If you're going to take it, you're
Take
going
it
to
or leave
take
it.
it.
But
Yeah.
but the fact is, you can walk the walk because you're saying let it go, and you have older ones that don't hate you for doing
They
what you've done.
don't. Yeah, they don't. But I make a point of being there for the important things, but still yet teaching them that, I'm not giving up everything to do this thing that I really enjoy and I'm passionate about, and I'm forgetting about you. I'm still there for you.
Sure.
But mom's got to let go of that mom guilt.
Let go of it.
Yeah.
You heard Heather said let go of it because
Let
she's
go of
got
it.
success.
Yeah, and I think also not forgetting about yourself and what self-care you need to do. Because like I said, we get caught up in taking care of everything in the house and taking care of the kids and taking care of everything. We forget about who we are as people,
Sure.
and to continually self-develop. I think self-development, empowerment type things help us out tremendously. Going to the gym, eating right, taking care of ourselves.
Do you think that plays into not just being a great mom, but being a great entrepreneur?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, so let's
Yeah.
play true or false in the next 2 minutes.
Okay.
Ready?
All right.
Being a business owner and entrepreneur, it's long days and sleepless nights.
True.
Okay. You can be successful working for somebody else
Mhm.
and not only help them grow, but help yourself grow. What do you think? True or false?
True. Depending on the owner.
Okay, depending upon the owner. If the
Mhm.
owner is up for ideas, you can have your own independent business within an office, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, so true or false? You're going to make millions of dollars right away within the first 6 months.
No. False.
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 It
It
can be
takes
true.
time.
It can be true. Listen, if you hit it right, you're some tech person,
Yeah.
but what if that's not in what you do?
Yeah.
You're a tech person. I'm not a tech person.
No. I mean, it takes me a lot, like to do Instagram and stuff. I'm
Okay.
like, give me a tutorial.
So you're not necessarily going to make $1 million
No.
within the first 6 months.
Mm-mm.
True or false? Over time, you can be successful.
You can.
In your life.
You can. Absolutely.
True or false? Being an entrepreneur is fantastic because in order to grow your business, you have to improve others' lives.
True. I think so. I think that's primarily what it's about.
Okay.
Yeah.
So in the last 30 seconds, tell the audience how they can reach you and again, your businesses and how they can reach you
Sure.
and go for it.
Sure. Heather McCartney. I have 2 businesses, Rodan Fields Skincare. You can reach me. I can give you my cell number.
Website, the website.
Website is, my Rodan Fields one.
Okay, go
Yeah,
your other one.
Okay, theblissfulhome.com.
Blissfulhome.com.
Yes.
And to get you on Instagram.
Instagram is Heather's Beautiful You on
Heather's-
Instagram.
Spell it.
HeatherSbeautiful, the letter U.
I wanted you to do that because
Yes.
at the end there is that unique
Yes,
you. So that's why I wanted you
yes.
to do that. So
Yes.
is there Facebook?
Facebook, Heather Ann McCartney.
Okay, spell it.
HeatherAnn McCartney. McCartney.
Awesome. Any other way to get a hold of you?
Yes, you can email me at
Go ahead.
ham, H-A-M, like a piece of ham.
Well, you're a ham,
I'm
right?
a ham. 0701@gmail.com.
Well, I'd like to thank Heather McCartney, Mother's Day special. Not only is she wife and mom, but entrepreneur and awesome spirit. I strongly encourage you to check out her Instagram page for sure, because she's putting out the truth. She's telling you that there are some great days, some bad days, but she is living the entrepreneur's life. She's got lots of experience and she's there for you. So Heather, thanks for being on Entrepreneur's Hustle.
I appreciate
Look
it.
forward to seeing and talking to you soon.
Thank you. I
Have a great
appreciate it.
day.
Have a
Thank
good
you.
day. Bye.
All right.
Wow, an hour goes by